Okay, so we're in finally the first little bit of the course, and in this video, we're going to talk about platform. Platform is basically the foundation upon which you build your website. And there are, unfortunately, lots of options out there. And I say unfortunately because for entrepreneurs who are just getting started, who may not be super familiar with the kind of the web design world, it's very, very daunting. There are so many options to choose from. You hate to pick wrong and then have to, my fear, at least when I start things, is like I'm going to pick the wrong thing. And then down the line, I'm going to want to change and it's going to be a giant nightmare. So I understand that fear. I live that fear, but I've been doing this for over 10 years. I've said it before. It's 2020 now. 10 years is really how long it's been. It's crazy that I've been designing websites this long, and well, really websites for longer than that. But specifically, we're going to talk about the platform you should choose. So you may have heard of a bunch of other platforms that are out there that are good. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them, but things like Wix and Squarespace. And Shopify and the other like course builder platforms like Teachable and Thinkific and Udemy, they're all good, right? They all have their value. But I still 100%, like no questions asked, recommend building with WordPress. So please don't panic, right? I know that when you hear the word WordPress, a lot of first-time folks are like, the misconceptions that are out there, I know, are that it's too complicated, that it takes too long to learn, that it takes too long to build on. And okay, I'll grant you that can be true, right? It can be if you don't know what you're doing, right? But the point of you being here is that I'm going to show you what to do. That you're going to take the steps. Basically, it's like a fast forward button. Like in Mario, when you got to the end of whatever level it was and there was a warp to like World 7. That's what this is. Is that we're jumping ahead with WordPress. You don't have to start figuring things out, attending YouTube University, Googling hours and hours and hours on end, because I've done this for so long that I know all the shortcuts, and that's what we're doing here. So I highly recommend that you build on WordPress. And there are a few of the reasons. I am glancing at my notes. I'm totally cheating, so don't think I'm like, that's how this works. There are notes on a monitor in front of me. WordPress is free. The core is free, which is incredible. This is a platform that 33, as of February, I guess, or like March of this year, 2020, 33% of the internet has been built on WordPress, right? Some stats put it as as many sites as 400 and what was it? And see again, I've got the notes on the screen, as 455 million websites are built. That's a third of the websites on the internet are built on WordPress. There are Fortune 500 companies using WordPress. Let's just look at what those are. I know that Best Buy and Disney use WordPress as a content management system. I know TED, NBC, CNN, the NFL, UPS, like they're using WordPress for various capacities. I'm not saying their whole sites are built on WordPress, but they're using it as part of their web presence. It's incredible, right? This is an incredibly powerful tool, and it's not that complicated to use once you're familiar with it. So I thought in this video, I would kind of just tour you around a little bit of like a root WordPress site. So that's what I'm going to do. So this is what the dashboard looks like. I set this up. I'm actually recording these course videos kind of out of order. So one of the later videos, we get to this point. This is the final product that you're going to be able to get to. I'm going to show you step by step how to get to this dashboard in this course, so you'll know exactly what host to build on, which is the next video, and then what theme to select. But platform-wise, this is what it looks like, and WordPress is pretty simple. It's broken down at its core to posts, which is like a blog type thing. If you're writing regular content, that's a type that's in your dashboard. Pages, which is like your home and your about and your contact, and you can upload media to WordPress. The other settings that are important, this is like the next grouping of settings. You have appearance, which is where you're going to have your theme, which ultimately we're going to cover in a couple videos. The theme is basically the styling of the site. So I'll show you really fast. If I come to the home page of this site, let's close out of these things. This is what just the default I built on SiteGround, so that's a spoiler alert for our next video. But this is the default 2020 WordPress theme with some content from SiteGround on it. And that is controlled here under themes. So if you wanted to see really fast, it comes with three, it's interesting, it's 2017, 19, and 20. I'm not sure why that's the default in this installation. Usually it's the last 3 years, but every year I think WordPress puts out a new theme based on the year as its default. And like if you wanted to come in and change the theme and I wanted to style this differently, I could come here and hit activate on 2017, refresh the front end page, and now I've got a different look. So that's what the themes do. Ultimately, there are 100 million, billion, zillion themes to choose from. And that's another thing that I'm going to shortcut you through, and I'm going to show you why in a couple videos. So we'll talk about that, but that's kind of the next piece. The customizer allows you to kind of front end customize lots of elements of your site. So if I wanted to edit these things, there's a quick way to do it. If I wanted to edit these things, there's a quick way. So this is where a lot of the customizations can come from. Then you have the ability to build menus. You add widgets to your sidebars and footers. And then I skip these other things because they're not really, we don't use them that much. Plugins are one of the biggest draws of WordPress. Plugins allow you to infinitely extend the functionality of your site in both a paid and a free capacity. I know so many free plugins and I use them regularly for various reasons, and that's something that I teach as part of my courses. The plugins are incredible and they actually, it can be kind of daunting getting things set up. So I've done work, I picked a thing just recently, right? I'm still learning, right? I've never had to do a membership site until now because I decided I wanted to host this whole course using my own tools and my own stuff. And so I had to figure out the best way of doing a membership site. And with this free thing, I basically figured out a free way to get you, so as you step through the login process or the registration process, the landing page that you landed on that showed you the, that talked about the course and gave you the button to register, then you registered and then you got logged in. And ultimately you're on my email list, all that stuff I set up for free. With various plugins, and the way I've got it set up is good for my main root site. It works very well, but I figured this out over so much time. So plugins allow you to do a lot. Users are where you allow people to register. It's also allow your back-end people. So if you have other content creators, those people are able to get access. You can have various user levels. And then there's some other tools. Don't really need to even cover these here. The settings, there's lots of settings, but don't panic. A lot of it is pretty straightforward. So you have settings and future stuff. I cover all of these things, but that's really all WordPress is, right? The root, once you get your site set up, which is kind of what this shows you how to do, that big chunk of it is done. And then it's really down to learning how to build and put stuff on. And the techie stuff is the intro. What this course is covering, it's getting you through that and it's showing you exactly what to do. So I highly recommend building on WordPress. And there's actually one other kind of big reason. There's a couple other reasons. It's SEO friendly. So if you're building a blog and you want organic traffic, any reason you want organic traffic, it's good for search engine optimization. Creating content is quite easy. Building in your blog, you can schedule posts, you can make them private, things like that. It's pretty sweet. Your analytics are very good. Google Analytics integrates very easily with WordPress, so that all that stuff is there. But the number one reason that I think WordPress is the winner over any really of those other platforms is that you can be assured that you own everything on that site. This is your site. You're not building your business on some other algorithm that they could change the terms of service and suddenly you're out. You own the installation files. Yes, you have to get hosting, which we'll talk about in the next video. You have to get hosting, and so you are building on someone's server, but ultimately all the files are your own. So you could take a backup, which I highly recommend. You take a backup of your site on a regular basis, and you have it. So if for some reason your hosting platform said, nope, screw you, and you have your backup, you can just doodle on over somewhere else and put your site back on the internet. Whereas with one of those other platforms, Wix, Shopify, I always forget the other one, Squarespace, those course platforms, they can make changes to their terms at any time. and you're suddenly having to face big hurdles. So WordPress is the way to go. There's no question. I've used these other platforms. I know lots of people who use them. Some people swear by them because they're so simple. WordPress is simple if you know what you're doing. That's what I'm showing you. And it gives you so much more control. So I hope I've convinced you to go with WordPress. I think I have, and getting it set up is pretty easy. So the next thing I'm going to do is there's a couple more videos in this course, the next one on hosting and then the following one on theme. Short videos telling you, once we've accepted, let's just assume from here on out that you've accepted that WordPress is the way to go. Which host and which theme to go with. I've got recommendations. Also, you might be wondering if you have a current site. I know that this course is really geared toward folks who have no site yet, but if you happen to get here and you have a current site, there's ways of bringing your site over as well. Totally worth it. So I will end this here. I think we're at about 10 minutes. So I know that the end piece is about a half hour. So I got to wrap up, and hopefully the next two videos are about 5 minutes a piece on host and theme. And then we'll get into actually putting stuff together. So I will see you in the next video on hosting.